Okay, hello, I'm Larry Meisel and welcome to Confidence on Camera, a channel for beginning YouTubers who need to overcome the awkwardness that goes along with standing in a quiet room by yourself, looking into a camera lens and trying to make it seem like you're having a casual conversation with just a few thousand of your intimate imaginary friends. So in this video, I'm going to talk about conflict within relationships that is perpetual, that seems to defy any kind of resolution. We're going to talk about how to go from gridlock to dialogue and how to replace argument with curiosity. And well, there we go. There's the first slip up. So we're going to make it go from argument to conversation. And most of this is going to be based on the work of John and Julie Gottman, two professors and researchers and therapists from the University of Washington in Seattle. And they've been working for over 30 years doing therapy, having a good marriage relationship themselves, and doing research. So they've been able to identify things that lead to long-term happy relationships and things that lead to relationships that don't last and may end in divorce. And part of their research is kind of scary because it indicates that 69% of the conflict in relationships is not resolvable. So they say you have to find a way to live with it. It's like maybe a nagging sports injury that it's not going to go away, but you can still find ways to cope, find ways to compensate, and find ways to continue enjoying having a life. So I've added a couple little twists to it that are my own ideas, and I will leave links in the description to some of the materials and resources that I suggest. And the first suggestion is to prepare the battlefield by making it a peaceful place. You can start by sitting face to face and filling in the blank for this to make a sentence, to say we both, and then brainstorm all the ideas and all the things that you have in common. You know, we both have stressful, busy, high volume, high complexity jobs. We both want to have a happy family and raise children that grow up to graduate from high school, get a job, pay taxes, and stay out of jail. We both want a comfortable and secure financial retirement. Then shift into getting a little bit more, establishing a atmosphere of goodwill towards each other by sitting down and looking at each other and saying, I appreciate that you. And I've downloaded a checklist to my Google Drive, and I'll put a link in the discussion in the comment section of the video where you can start with, you take turns and you pick about 3 to 5 adjectives from the list, and then each person says, I appreciate that you are, and you name the adjective. And then you say, and an example is when you, and you give a time when it happens. And then the third is, and you say, and that's important to me because, such as, I appreciate that you are creative. And an example is, every year you make a handmade Christmas card for me. And I appreciate that because it's personalized. It lets me know that you care about me as an individual. And that's important to me because when I was growing up, we didn't exchange Christmas cards. We gave gifts, but you know, it's the thought that counts. And in my house, it was just very materialistic, and didn't seem like there was a lot of thought to it. And then I appreciate that you are generous. And an example is how you include in our monthly bills donating to charity. And that's important to me because I also think that it's important to give back, to be involved in something more than just our own wants and comforts. And then you take turns being a speaker and a listener. And if you're the speaker, your job is to talk about not only what it is that you want, the issue that you're disagreeing on, but to let your partner know why it's important to you. Tell the story behind it, explain the underlying values or characteristics that you have that are lifelong, or some long-standing goals that you've had for your life. You know, people make a vow to themselves and say, when I get older, I'm never going to have to, or when I get older, I'm always going to be able to. And talk to your partner about what that story is, because the listener's job is to help make it safe for the speaker to tell that story. To listen the way a friend would listen, with compassion and understanding and caring. You want to be able to set aside your own values, your own opinion, your own way of wanting to have your own way. And your job is to try to develop empathy and compassion for the other person so that each partner is going to have empathy and compassion and want to help the other person satisfy their needs or accomplish their goals. Then, in doing that, you can also refer to a list of values that I've put a link in the comment section for. To say, well, my goal is, or I think we really should, and what that's related to is my integrity. What that's related to is my sense of competence or my achievements. So that in developing listening and understanding for each other, then you can go from gridlock to conversation, from argument and persuasion to genuine curiosity. Tell me why that's important to you. It never would have occurred to me. I can't understand. Tell me what's the story behind it. And an example that I use is with folks who say, one person says, I wish we had a second house. I'd like a place, a country place where we could go kind of as a retreat to get away. And the other person says, boy, that would be wonderful. I wish we could have that. But don't be ridiculous. We can't afford it. We haven't. We don't have a savings plan. We don't have investments. We need to save for college for the kids. How the heck could we ever afford something like that? Don't be stupid. That there's all the value and the judgment, and it's based on reasoning, but it's shutting the other person down. So instead, if the person listening were to say, how did you get that idea? And a person says, well, when I was growing up, my parents used to argue a lot, and it was just annoying and irritating and frustrating. And I used to just go out in the woods and sit in nature, sit under a tree and write poetry and have solitude and time to myself. And that's always been important to me. So I really want to have that again. And a person says, well, okay, I understand, and I know that's important to you, but I'm still hung up on this idea of we can't afford it. So tell me more. Let's say, what's your best case scenario? If we were to have this place, what would it be like? And the other person says, well, I don't want, like, not right away. I was thinking maybe we could start by, buying a piece of land, and then maybe, get a pull-along trailer that we could haul up there and spend the week in the summer or maybe weekends in the fall and the spring. And then, perhaps eventually we could build like a one-bedroom studio cabin, a pull-out sofa if we wanted to have company over, a little Pullman kitchen, a back porch to sit and look back on what we've accomplished in life. And then the listener says, "Oh, we can do that." I thought you wanted a 5-bedroom house on a lake with a swimming pool. Oh, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, we can save and we can save for the land and yeah, sure, we can do that. So now we've replaced the argument and trying to convince the other person to be reasonable with a shared sense of helping each other to, as I say, to paint in the details of what we want our life to be like. So when you accomplish that mutual understanding and mutual caring and wanting to help each other, then you can move into what I've described in I think the most recent video that I posted is then you can go into the compromise circles, and you can define in the center circle what you have, and you can define in the outer circle what you can be flexible on: who, what, when, where, how much, how often, how many. We don't have to do it right away. I was thinking over time we could, buy a little piece of land. So then you can move to making a plan. And a really important part of using a plan to resolve any conflict or to manage any conflict is that the plan is tentative. The plan is subject to review. When it seems like we agreed on something and we seem to be separating, we seem to be growing apart, we're not keeping to the plan, we need to sit down and talk openly about what are we doing that's working, what do we want to sustain, and where are the problems, what do we want to improve. So it's an ongoing process, multiple iterations of refining the approach and continuing to work towards satisfying and helping each other. So that's the end of my story. But stay with me for just a couple minutes longer. If you've gotten this far, you might as well stick around for another minute. The idea behind confidence on camera is that it's beneficial for me to just stand in front of the camera and practice. It will also be beneficial for me if you will give me your suggestions and observations about how I can improve. That way, while you're watching me and while you're giving me your suggestions, you're mentally rehearsing and coming up with ideas in your own mind of how you want to present yourself on camera. So it's a win-win situation. The last thing is that confidence on camera is an auxiliary channel to my main channel, which is called The Examined Life. And that channel is for people who want a place for civil conversation and discussion of ideas and issues, from the tremendously important to the trivial but interesting. Several years ago, with all the polarization and the animosity that's happening in the country that I think is having a real negative impact, I want to do something to narrow the gap. I want to be some sort of a force for bringing people together. And the major goal of the channel is to become monetized so that I can use 90% of any proceeds to donate to Doctors Without Borders, Feeding America, a worldwide hunger and poverty relief NGO called Oxfam, and the human rights organization Amnesty International. So that just by watching and participating in the Examined Life channel, you'll be helping me to help others. That's my goal. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This is a 30-day challenge. This is day 23, I believe, and video 22 of a 30-day challenge to record at least 27 videos in 30 days, which would be 90% success. If I'm at least 90% successful, I'm going to buy a new piece of equipment for the channel. If I don't succeed and I record less than 27 videos, I have to donate $25 to Donald Trump's presidential campaign, which will be a horribly excruciating punishment. So the stakes are really high. Help me to succeed by giving the channel a like, subscribe if you're really motivated, and look out for my video tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye-bye. These are funny little mannerisms, just poses that I'm using to, try to make a thumbnail for the video. Okay?